Hello YouTube, welcome to Reload, Shoot, Repeat. This week I wanted to talk about a 410 I mentioned in my last video. This is the 410 I was talking about. It's my wife's 410. It's a bolt action 3-shot 410. It holds 2 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. It shoots both 2.5 inch and 3 inch shells. This model is a New Haven by Mossberg, model 283T 410 shotgun. It's a fixed choke barrel, so you can't remove any kind of choke. It's all one piece of metal. It is a full choke, so it's hard to hit something unless you're aiming right at it. But it's tons of fun to shoot if you're shooting clays that are going pretty slow or close or directly to you, directly away from you. It's just a ton of fun to shoot. It has almost no recoil. It could be the 22 of the shotgun world. In fact, it's a great varmint gun, great squirrel, rabbit gun. In fact, there's a lot of manufacturers, or one in particular I know, that makes a over-under, which is a 22 410 combination firearm. It's a single shot 22, single shot 410, but you can stuff one 22 and one 410 in there and go varmint hunting or go rabbit, squirrel hunting, and it's a great combination. The 410 complements the 22 so well. They're both light recoil. They're both just really good at what I think they're made for, small game and varmints. Anyway, this particular gun is one I picked up at a pawn shop. It was in pretty rough condition. It wasn't too bad. It looked like somebody's truck gun. Down here in Texas, that's pretty common. You know, get a gun for the truck, especially if you're on a ranch or a lot of land. You know, take a squirrel every now and then, take a rabbit, just whatever you're coming across, and it's handy. It's a really handy little shotgun. It was a little pitted, a little rusty. Definitely wasn't blued anymore at all. It was more of a brownish color. The stock was it was about this color when I picked it up. I'll have to go back to the pictures and check, but it was dull, and there were areas where it was pretty scraped up, and the butt plate didn't quite fit the wood very well, and I've shaved it down, and unfortunately I had to taper the back of it to get it to fit nicely, but you really can't tell a whole lot, and it's blended really well now. I decided to do an oil rubbed finish on it. I just love the way a glossy glass-like finish looks on wood, as well as a very polished blued barrel. This was my first bluing project, working with salt bath. So it's not perfect, and I learned that you don't want to use a polish that uses grease to hold it together. It tends to embed itself in the metal, and when you go to blue it, it doesn't come out. It leaves you with an uneven bluing, and it's kind of hard to tell on this one, but if you look real close, you can definitely see the dark blue versus the more plum color, and it's just not 100% where I wanted it to be. With the bolt, half the bolt is blued, half the bolt is still raw metal. That's the way it was when I got it, so I wanted to leave it that way, but I can see in the raw metal where it's starting to show a little bit of rust coming back, and I'm definitely going to refinish this when I get the chance. It'll be sometime in the next few months. My wife can't shoot right now, so I'll definitely take the opportunity to do that. She doesn't want me to touch it when she can shoot because she loves to shoot this thing. She shoots the heck out of it. I recently got her that 20 gauge, and then right after I got it for her, she can't shoot anymore, or at least temporarily. So I've been playing with it. I've been playing with this and the 20 gauge, and you know, they're so similar in recoil. That is because that 20 gauge is really light recoiling. Go check out the other video if you want to see what I'm talking about. Filming in my garage. You can hear the neighbors driving with their bass. But anyway, so it's a really simple shotgun. It's really similar to single shot 22s. It's really simple bolt design, a really simple trigger mechanism. The safety is just a lever that rocks back and forth, and it'll cover the trigger, keep it from going all the way and dropping the pin. The takedown is really simple. It's just a single screw, and it screws into the action inside the stock. There's a piece of metal that a lug from the action sits down in, and it distributes whatever recoil is inside of this. But it's a really simple design, really easy to take apart and clean. I think this is a great first shotgun for anyone. I take that back. I think this is a great first shotgun for a youth, because you don't want to get an adult or a teenager to go out with a 410 and they can't hit anything because there's not a whole lot of shot going out there. For a youth, they're most likely going to start shooting at stationary targets. But you can hit clays. I shoot, I would say 9 out of 10, maybe even 19 out of 20 clays when we're doing self-pull. Of course, those are going straight away from you, pretty slow, so they're really easy to hit. I shot skeet with this a couple times, and I shoot about a 14, which I'm not a great shot, but 14 is pretty good with a little 410, and you can hit the clays and they do break. It's a lot easier to hit them with the 3-inch shells than the 2.5, and I've only done 3-inch shells once. But with the 3-inch shells, they cycle so much better than the 2.5s, and you can do doubles. It's tough, but if you run that bolt fast enough, this is clear by the way, if you run that bolt fast enough, bang, you have time to follow up with that second shot. It's tons of fun, and it is extremely satisfying when you can hit that second clay. What else can I tell you about this? I mean, it's a super simple, super reliable shotgun. When I first got it, the firing pin was bent. It wouldn't even protrude far enough to hit the primer. So I had to pull it apart and straighten it out, and interestingly, this is like a 2 or a 3-piece firing pin. It screws together, but once you get it back together, put some Loctite on it, keep it from coming apart. I haven't had a single problem with it since. So I'm thinking somebody probably got in there and tried to play with it, and that's how it ended up bent. But otherwise, this gun was complete. I didn't have to fix anything on it other than the firing pin. I didn't have to replace any parts on it. Like I said, it's a really simple shotgun. Plastic trigger guard, but it's not cracked. The trigger is metal. It does wobble a little bit. This was a budget shotgun even for when it originally came out. I have reloaded for it, and it seems to shoot the reloads pretty well. I tried reloading 3-inch shells, and I wanted to step it up to the 3/4 ounce shot, which is extremely difficult. Nobody really sells shot cups or wads that all of the shot fits inside the cup anymore. Now you have to find some kind of wrap to extend past the cup so that your shot isn't making contact with the barrel, which is what leads to really splotchy patterns. So I wanted to find something that that protected all the shot from the barrel. What I ended up doing was I got some wads that they're called stretch wads. Not really impressed with them at all, because it says they can go up to 11/16 or 3/4 ounce of shot, and they actually hold a lot less shot than the Claybuster AA replicas. So I really wasn't impressed with them at all. The Claybuster CB5050s seem to load really well. It holds a 1/2 ounce of shot, very good. In fact, I might even take my 3-inch shells and cut them down to 2.5-inch shells, and I might just use a 1/2 ounce of shot in all my shells. It's not quite as reliable when you try to load more than 1 round at a time with a 2.5-inch shell, but it works for what I need it to do. And if I only shoot singles with this, I wouldn't be completely upset. It is pretty difficult to shoot doubles with a bolt action 410. That's about all I have to say about this 410. I definitely recommend, if you have the opportunity to pick up something just kind of odd and quirky, I know that they made these in 20 gauge, and that would be pretty fun too. Have a 20 gauge bolt action shotgun. It's probably a purpose built gun, but I think it would still be a lot of fun, and I love saving old guns. You're just never going to see something like this in production again, especially for the look it has. It's kind of like a 70s model car, or a if you're a techie, that 80s model tech or 90s tech. It just has a certain look, and I think that's what I really like about it. The whole reason I bought it, though, it wasn't even something that I looked at and said, I really want that. I was actually looking at a 22 at the pawn shop. They wouldn't give me the price I wanted, so I tried to bargain a little bit. I said, hey, what would you charge me for the 22 and that shotgun over there? They're like, we'll take $20 off. So I said, okay, I'll buy them both. And I did, and I'm really happy with what I did. I ended up selling that 22. It went to a cousin of mine. But I'm happy with that. I tend to buy a lot of 22s, especially in rough condition, and I like to refurbish them. And if I get to keep them, great. If later on down the road I decide I don't need it and I want to sell it, great too. I can take it to a pawn shop, I can sell it at the gun store, I can trade it. But I love to keep what I can, especially if it's kind of a one-off gun. And hopefully soon I'll be refinishing a lever action 22. It's kind of a Marlin knockoff, or rather a rebranded Marlin. But I'd been looking for one for a long time and just happened to cross it at a gun store. So I jumped on it. I just can't wait to refinish it, and I'm going to try Cerakoting the receiver. Again, another process I haven't tried before, but I've done a lot of research, and I feel like I can do it with what I have, especially if I can take it apart and fit it inside a toaster oven. That's one thing I love to do, is find a budget way to make a really nice product. Mainly because I can't afford to do a whole professional setup for a hobby. The guns definitely cost me money. I don't make money on them. I don't have any sponsors. But I really love doing them. And maybe one day I can make money on them, but just right now, it's a hobby of mine, and something I'd love to share with anybody I can share it with. Anyway, leave some comments. Tell me what you think. If you have one, if an uncle or a grandfather had one, tell me about it. I definitely love hearing stories. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. That's all I have for you. So, this is Reload, Shoot, Repeat, signing out.